Welcome back everyone. In today's video, we will be learning about the remaining part of frame format. Duration is present in the units of microseconds. The value ranges from 0 to 32767 microseconds. It is used to update the nav. Thus, the value should be equal to the time taken to transmit the remaining frames. For PS pole, it represents AID, that is, Association ID. The value ranges from 0 to 2007. Address fields represents the MAC address. The individual or group bit is always transferred first and is bit 0 of the first octet. This is to help the receiver to differentiate between the individual or group addressed frame. For broadcast, all the bits are 1. We generally come across different types of address. Transmitter address is for the station that transmits the MSDU. Receiver address is for the station that receives the MSDU. Source address is for the station from where the MSDU was originated. This may or may not be the transmitter. Destination address is for the station that is the final recipient. This may or may not be same as receiver. BSS ID is the MAC address of the AP or the station that controls the BSS in other cases. Address 1 is receiver address, so this is always present. Address 2 is transmitter address. Address 3 is either source or destination address. Address 4 is source address if the source and destination address are different. In this case, address 3 is destination address. In the case of IBSS, all the stations are connected to each other and there is no DS. So, to DS and from DS is 0. Transmitter address equals source address. Receiver address equals destination address. So, address 1 is destination address or receiver address. Address 2 is source address or transmitter address. Address 3 is BSS ID. We'll discuss later about IBSS BSS ID. Address 4 is not present. In the case of BSS, all the stations are connected to AP and AP acts as DS. When the AP transmits the packet to the station, then to DS is 0 and from DS is 1. Transmitter address equals address of AP, that is BSS ID. Receiver address equals destination address. So, address 1 is destination address or receiver address. Address 2 is transmitter address, that is BSS ID. Address 3 is source address since destination address is already present. Address 4 is not present. When the station transmits the packet to the AP, then to DS is 1 and from DS is 0. Transmitter address equals source address. Receiver address equals address of AP, that is BSS ID. So, address 1 is receiver address, that is BSS ID. Address 2 is transmitter address or source address. Address 3 is destination address since source address is already present. Address 4 is not present. When the packet transmission happens from one AP to other AP, then to DS is 1 and from DS is 1. Transmitter address equals source address. Receiver address equals address of AP, that is BSS ID. So, address 1 is receiver address, that is address of the receiver AP. Address 2 is transmitter address, that is address of the transmitter AP. Address 3 is destination address. Address 4 is source address. This is the summary. Sequence control represents the fragment number and sequence number. FCS is for CRC check. This will be used to check at the receiver side whether the frame is received correctly or not. That's all for this lecture. Thank you for watching this video.